Just to make it clear, the deadline of the 1st of March, we have to write a letter of application to the Football Association asking to be basically entered into a league. We have to provide security of evidence of security of tenure, which obviously is the Oaker Street lease. We have to supply any other documentary evidence, and that will be along the lines of what I was saying earlier in terms of letters from the police and leading lights from the community. Firstly, supporting our proposal, but also supporting the idea of big away followings and ensuring that we get as high as possible in the league pyramid.
There's a couple and there's one at the back.
I don't know what it would be like in the West Midlands League, but if we were to go into the Southern League, there was a stipulation last season for a bond to be put up. Any idea how this could be funded if it happens?
This is a good question, Steve. We don't know what that bond might be. We don't know what was expected of the football club last season, but I would anticipate that out of the initial capital being put in by the three benefactors, that it would come out of that money. Would it have to?
But will that money from the benefactors even cover the, well, we don't know yet, the repair to the grounds?
Well, don't forget that once we had the authorisation or the go-ahead from Council and FA, that we would be starting the process of income streams, and we would hope that we would be bringing money in almost from day one. So we wouldn't be totally reliant on those benefactors or their input, but obviously from a cash flow point of view, it gives us a very big leg up.
In terms of a bond, last season of the 68 Southern League sides competing, Hereford United were the only side asked to pay a bond. I believe they said it was £20,000 in the CVA document. We've been told by at least one Southern League chairman it was only £1,500.
Okay, next question. Can we move on, please? There's some in the corner, Keith, on the left-hand side, and there's one at the back.
Here we go. Just a quick question. Reference to a lighter side, the football or the footballers. What type of football are you expected to get into the football team? Because considering that we're a little bit of an outpost, and if you get players from outside, then it's going to cost money to bring them and house them.
Thanks for that question. One of the things that we get as a group of people is lots of people talking to us. And some of the names that have been... Jimmy Harvey's been on the phone to me 3 times this week. So there's not a shortage of people who want to come and create a style of football that we would be happy with in terms of the Hereford Football Club. But there's a lot of ex-players and so on who are contacting us and asking us what's going on, can they be involved with it and so on. So there's an awful lot of opportunities. But I'll pass you over to Martin, who will perhaps give a bit more detail.
I mean, at the level we're likely to be at, we are going to have to look for local players. It's simple as that. I mean, we had a fans team game on Boxing Day against Redditch. We had 5 of the UITC lads come with us and play. We also had 2 of last season's youth team come with us and play. And you know, they came and wanted to play for us because they want to be part of next season's team. It's simple as that. You know, the boys in the UITC, that they've had fantastic education there. And they are a fantastic resource, and they will be the basis of what we build our team on. Simple as that.
I'd like to go on a share point, if you don't mind. £2,000 is bit excessive. I'm sure there's people in this room. I can understand the work that would go into it to process everything. But for £2 for Joe Bloggs that works at Tesco's and not work or have their own company, they've got £2 spare. Surely 200 quid would be more reasonable, or 500 quid. You know, everybody wants to be a part of the football club and feel part of the football club. You want us to feel part of the football club, yet you're asking shareholders to stump up £2 for privilege.
There are a couple of issues really. First of all, let's start off. We took some legal advice on the issue of shares because the original issue was going to be to the original benefactors and to HUST. And an initial issue to those category of people will be fairly straightforward. Under the Financial Services and Markets Act 2000, it's a criminal offence for someone to communicate an invitation or inducement to engage in the investment of shares, unless the communication has been approved by an authorised person. That's somebody that's authorised by the Financial Conduct Authority. So it's not straightforward and it's expensive to do. Park that to the side for a moment. Then you can then go on to the second part, which is administratively for the football club, it could be a nightmare as well. The last list of shareholders for Hereford United Football Club, Hereford United 1939, was 40 A4 pages long. And it's an administrative issue. We want everybody to be part of this football club, where they invest in shares directly, and we have set a limit of £2,000, and I hear your issues on that. And also, if that is too much, then do it via HUST.
Yeah, supplementary, sorry, yeah, thank you, Keith. Yeah. I knew you had your uses. But yeah, I mean, I get that, sir, I really do get that. I held 10 shares in the old club. Pathetic, I know, but they were my shares.
Not pathetic at all.
No, but in this process, I can't afford £2, but those 10 shares meant the world to me because I had a stake in my football club. Everybody probably around this room would probably do the same. But just to save you boys a bit of work, I know you've done a lot so far, and like you say, you're going to have certain people. If you put a limit of £500 for argument's sake, I think there'll be a lot of takers. £2, you're alienating those people who don't want to give to HUST. And let's be fair, there's some out there, rightly or wrongly, I know which way I sway on that one, but you're giving those a disadvantage. Make it realistic, boys.
Martin Bissell speaks in.
One of the problems with the old club and the share issue was that at the point of the original 40,000 shares, the complaints, mainly down to why they wanted the bigger share issue, were that so many shares couldn't be found. They were sold on turnstiles, they were sold individually, so there were hundreds and hundreds of people holding one share that simply couldn't be traced. We are looking at this at the long term. The simple fact was those shares were issued in the 60s and 70s and couldn't be traced today. You know, we want these shareholdings to be as big as possible and valuable to people. And I mean truly valuable. We don't want them to disappear because somebody's lost a piece of paper. We want them to be traceable. And in 40 years' time, we want 100% of the share capital of this football club to be found so we can vote on things that really, really matter. Because at the end of the day, that football club couldn't find 75% of its shareholders to make some key decisions. And they had to fudge the rules to get the share issue through.
Okay, Keith, any more questions?
Yeah. Basic question, but I think needs to be answered. Are we going to be black and white and we're going to wear the ball on the shirt? There shouldn't be a discussion.
No. Who's actually going to answer the question? That was the point. From the meetings we've had, the answer is going to be, obviously, to whatever you said, yes. They are going to be wearing white shirts, they are going to be running around Edgar Street, and they will be Hereford. So that's as far as we've got. What we are hoping to do as the Trust is to put out a competition for the away strip. And I know what colour I bet on that the away strip would be. But we're going to do that, and we're also going to try and put out a competition for the badge, so that we can generate some opportunities to look. The only trouble is that somebody's preempted that, and they've created a pretty good badge at the moment that is out there. And we don't want to preempt that, but that's what we're thinking at the moment, and it's involving the football community with those types of decisions.
That's fair enough. That is fair enough. You guys, I know you're setting up something new, but you also have a responsibility to preserve our history of Hereford United. Yeah.
It's already there. I think the answer to your question is yes. I think you've reiterated something we already know, I think, so that's fine.
Just to supplement that, one of the words we've used very often is bringing forward a flavour of Hereford United. That's key, and yes, we will.
One of my biggest fears over the last 2 seasons, stood on the meadow, is as a small businessman, I stood there and thought, this isn't sustainable. This isn't going to go on much longer, and we've all known it hasn't. Have proper costings been done into what Edgar Street actually costs to run? Forget the players' wages, we know they're going to be reduced dramatically. The actual costs of just running that premises, because in comparison to the teams we're going to be playing, Edgar Street will be Wembley Stadium. You know, most of the teams we're playing will be not much bigger than just, nothing against Westfields, are a fantastic side, but a Westfields type setup. They will come to Edgar Street and think they're at Wembley. It's going to be a massive expense. How many supporters a week have to go through the turnstiles just to pay the bill? And more to that, when you work out we only play 23 home games, and if we're lucky 4 or 5 cup games at home, that equates to about 1 game a fortnight. You know, it's a very big concern.
It's a concern to all of us, which is why so much time has been spent on the budgeting, etc., etc. Hugh Brooks will be finance director. Hugh Brooks is a chartered accountant of many years standing. He was in private practice. He now works outside the practice, but is a qualified accountant. He and the commercial director have put together a budget. I've had a look at it in a governance type role. What was the question? I've lost my thread. Oh, sorry. Hugh Brooks was there during Graham Turner's time, so he has got a good handle on the costs involved. Hugh's director of the company. Like all directors of the company, he will receive no remuneration.
I'll be honest with you. The next question I was going to ask was, I understood, right, one of the main reasons the gate was reduced to 1,000 last year was to save Hereford United money on stewards, policing and security, right? Now, if you say go for a 5,000 capacity crowd, which was stated earlier, and all right, yes, you can have 1 or 2 big games where you might attract 5,000. Wouldn't it be better to keep your maximum crowd down to give you a chance to raise some money to get it back up to the standing, as opposed to go to maximum standing and not fill it, because you've actually got to pay for the police and the private stewarding for the maximum crowd? You follow the gist of the question?
Absolutely. And my answer to that is that I'm not sure there's a single person in this room that wouldn't like to see Edgar Street back up to a capacity of 5,000, just in case.
Absolutely.
We want to give ourselves a maximum opportunity when the situation occurs to have as many people in that ground. Now, obviously, I agree with that. to start with, there is going to be a cost to get that ground back up to capacity of 5,000 or 4,000 or whatever we can achieve. But once you've done that, then it's sensible management of the day-to-day business and the day-to-day football club to make sure that you're not spending money where you don't need it. And if you're getting crowds of 1,500, you have stewards to accommodate 1,500 people. You don't steward the place for 4,000 people. So it's all about making sure that you manage the place correctly, day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year.
What about when bad clubs actually visit Hereford? Like for example, Millwall FC.
Yeah, just at the moment, I don't think we're going to worry about Millwall.
Basically, every couple of months there's a safety group that meets, that looks at the fixtures and determines the expectations of what the attendances will be. So if a Millwall turned up, the police would advise us accordingly.
Okay, next question. I'll ask Keith again.
Just to let you know.
Oh, sorry.
Just to let you know about Gillingham Football Club. In the 90s, by June the 6th, they had to pay £12,000 in the Football League to join, to make sure they remained in the 4th division. That's gone over 20,000 now. So money will be expected from the Football League or other things.
Right, thanks for that. Those sorts of issues that we're addressing are specific to us at the level that we're at, so that will be dealt with then.
The other point to let the other people know is that to our supporters trust, we had 3 millionaires who come up with money and they wanted to be anonymous, and we kept them anonymous because otherwise that Londoners would have come out with shotguns and taken the money. We agree that they must be...
Thank you for that, yeah. Thank you for your question. I think what we'll do is to... I think we really need to focus on where we are. I've looked all around Herefordshire and I've found 1 millionaire yet, so you know we're all right for a bit. Any more questions? Can you put your hands up if you've got some more questions? One over there, Keith. Anybody else? So I can identify where Keith dropped. Sorry.
I know it was a really a question for HUST more than the Hale Group, but are you aware of any other parties that may come forward and enter the bidding process?
We have put out repeatedly that if anybody has got a plan that have approached the council that want to come and talk to us and explain their plan so we can put it towards members. Nobody's approached us. Some of you will be aware that Lawrence Appleby's name was linked to an Irish consortium. The Irish people involved, Lawrence asked me to contact them. They were basically a pair of coaches. There was no talk of any finance. They basically expressed an interest in the football side next season. So, I mean, that wasn't an expression of interest in Edgar Street or anything like that. And obviously, when we do get on to talking about the football side, once we've secured Edgar Street and ticked all the boxes with the FA, then we'll speak to them in due course.